In a world where truth and lies constantly intertwine, a man finds himself trapped in a life of debt and deception. But when he's chosen for a strange scientific experiment, his life is about to change forever. Meet Gon, a liar who always finds a way out of difficult situations. However, when he's introduced to Rosalie, a perfect robot girl, everything he thought he knew will be turned upside down. A bizarre experiment begins, and for 1 month, Gon must live with this robot to help the scientists complete her. But things aren't as simple as they seem. Unexpected emotions start to surface, and Gon realizes he's not just participating in an experiment, he's falling into a relationship he never imagined. Just when things seem to be settling down, Gon discovers a shocking truth: Rosalie is not just a robot. She begins to feel emotions, and this change leads them into a dangerous confrontation. Can Gon protect her and escape all the trouble? And can Rosalie truly become human when her heart begins to awaken? Join us as we explore a story full of surprises, love, and action in. He tried to merge alien DNA with a robot, then she called him Daddy. The city outside hums with neon and broken promises. Inside, the apartment is a decaying husk, water stains bleeding down the walls, wires exposed like veins beneath crumbling plaster. A malfunctioning air purifier wheezes in the corner, releasing a faint lavender mist that's meant to calm nerves, but only makes the air feel heavier, synthetic. Gon, early 30s, charming in a way that makes you double-check your wallet, sits hunched on a fraying couch. One sock is missing, his shirt is buttoned wrong, and his eyes bloodshot from stress and caffeine twitch toward the door. Suddenly knock. 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 It's not the sound that startles him. It's the timing. The rhythm. Too perfect. Too deliberate. He opens the door. Margarita, his landlady, stands there like a thundercloud with a clipboard. The hallway behind her flickers, the light bulbs pulsing like a heartbeat out of sync with time. Margarita, sharp, mechanical precision in her voice. 2 months, gone. Rent's overdue. Again. I'm not running a charity for malfunctioning humans. Gon raises both hands, palms open, the universal sign of harmlessness. His grin, however, is anything but innocent. Gon, grinning, voice slippery. It's temporary. I'm getting married soon. Her father? Loaded. I'm talking orbital yachts, real estate on Mars. You'll get your money. Triple it. She stares at him. Not annoyed. Not even angry. Just scanning. Like she's waiting for a glitch. Then slam. The door shuts. The sound echoes unnaturally, as if the apartment has swallowed it whole. Gon exhales. Walks toward a cracked mirror hanging above his sink. His reflection glitches for a millisecond, a flicker of static like a corrupted file. He doesn't notice. Gon, murmuring to himself. One day, I'll be somebody. Not today. But someday. A soft click behind him. The television turns on by itself. No remote. No signal. Just a low-frequency hum, followed by a voice not human, not entirely. TV voice, calm, digitized female tone. Subject located. Behavioral profile matches phase 1 requirements. Initiate protocol, synthesis. The screen displays a single word, Rosalie. Gon turns, confused. Gon. What the hell is a Rosalie? The TV flickers off. The lavender mist thickens. Outside, the city's neon dims like someone turned the brightness down on the world. Unseen, behind the walls, something begins to move. A dim blue light pulses from the kitchen, flickering in time with a faint static buzz. The clock on the wall ticks erratically as if time itself has lost confidence in its rhythm. Gon sleeps half-dressed on the couch, a noodle hanging from his mouth. An open bottle of cheap synth whiskey rolls gently on the floor. Then a knock. But not on the door. It comes from the inside of the television screen. Tap. 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 The TV powers on again, revealing only a black void. For a heartbeat, Gon's sleeping face is reflected in it, and in the reflection, behind him, stands a silhouette. Real knock. 3 sharp hits. The front door. Gon jerks awake, eyes wide. Gon, groggy. I'm not buying anything. Especially not salvation. The knocking continues slow, deliberate, patient. He gets up and peeks through the peephole. Outside stands SAT, early 30s, rail-thin, bespectacled, wearing a trench coat far too big for him. He looks like someone who reads government files for fun. In one hand, he holds a sealed metallic case glowing faintly at the seams. Gon opens the door an inch. Gon. Sat. As in. Sneak Sat. You're still alive. Sat, deadpan. Barely. We need to talk. Cut to, int. Gon's kitchen, moments later. Steam rises from a kettle, whistling in reverse. Gon watches, unnerved. Sat places the metallic case on the table with care, like it's holding something radioactive. Sat. You're being recruited. There's a project. High-end. Classified. Potentially illegal in 14 countries, and 2 off-world colonies. Gon, grinning. Sounds like my kind of party. Sat taps the case. It opens with a soft hiss, revealing a glowing neural crystal suspended in magnetic levitation. Symbols dance across its surface, too fast for the eye, too old for any human language. Sat whispers. We call her Rosalie. Gon, squinting. Rosalie? That your ex? Sat. She's not mine. Not yours either. Yet. Lightning flashes outside, but there is no thunder. Only the low mechanical whir of something powering up deep beneath the city. Sat, serious now. You're not being chosen because you're special. You're being chosen because the system thinks you're unstable enough to trigger unpredictable emotional patterns. Gon. So basically, I'm the chaos variable. Sat. Exactly. You're the perfect storm in human form. Gon smirks, then leans back in his chair. Gon. What's the pay? Sat. 7 figures. Plus, she'll look exactly how you want her to. Gon, eyes narrowing. Now you have my full attention. Camera pushes in on the neural crystal. Its light intensifies, pulsing like a heartbeat. In its reflection, we see not Gon's face, but the brief image of a woman's silhouette with glowing eyes, blinking for the very first time. The elevator descends in silence. No music, no hum, only the sound of moving metal grinding softly against the weight of secrets. Gon stands beside Sat, arms crossed, pretending not to be nervous. But he can feel it, the air is different down here. Denser. Charged. The elevator stops with a mechanical sigh. Whoosh. The doors open. A corridor stretches forward, clean, silver, almost surgical in its perfection. No markings. No signs. Just seamless walls and soft white light that feels too still. Gon, under his breath. Either we're in a high-end hospital, or inside a spaceship. Sat, smiling faintly. Both wouldn't be wrong. They walk in silence. Cameras track their movement like curious eyes. Doors open before them automatically, responding to Sat's biometric signature. At the final chamber, a retinal scan confirms access. The door opens slowly like it's holding its breath. They enter a circular room with glass walls, overlooking a sterile, glowing chamber below. And standing in the center of that chamber, is her. Rosalie. Still. Silent. Perfectly human, and yet, unmistakably not. Her skin reflects the sterile light too cleanly. Her eyes closed flicker faintly beneath the lids, like a dream is trying to escape before it's born. She wears a simple white dress. No shoes. No jewelry. Just her and the air around her, humming faintly like static before a storm. Gone, quietly. She looks real. Sat, softly. Down to the mitochondria. Artificial nerves. Simulated muscle tension. Skin temperature synced to human standards. Gon walks closer to the glass. His reflection overlaps hers like they are already part of the same story. Gon. Does she know? Sat. She's waiting. But she doesn't know what for. That's where you come in. Below them her eyes open. Not slowly. Instantly. As if she wasn't sleeping just waiting to be seen. Her gaze locks on Gon through the glass. He steps back. Not out of fear but something else. Recognition. Like she looked straight into his core and found something she'd seen before. Rosalie, soft, almost inaudible through the glass. Candidate acquired. The lights in the chamber dim. Her silhouette glows faintly. From the speakers, the professor's voice echoes. Professor, through comms. She will mimic emotion, but not feel it. Not yet. Your job is to help her understand love, fear, jealousy, betrayal. When she feels them truly she will become something the world has never seen. Gone, uneasy. What happens then? A pause. Professor, low, cryptic. Then she will stop being ours. And start being hers. The doors below slide open. Sat. She's yours for the next 30 days. Good luck. Gone, smirking. She doesn't look like the type that needs luck. As Gon steps into the chamber, the lights shift to warmer tones. Rosalie tilts her head slightly, observing him not like a machine scanning, but like a woman wondering. Narrator, in voice-over. She was built to imitate a heart. But no one predicted she'd grow one of her own. The sun outside had long set, but the apartment felt strangely alive not from warmth, but from motion. Quiet, calculated motion. Rosalie moved through the space like she'd lived there for years, though it had only been days. She cleaned not just efficiently, but intentionally organizing chaos into order like solving a living equation. Every movement was measured, yet graceful. In the kitchen, she cooked. The ingredients were basic, barely edible. But Rosalie adapted, blended flavors like variables, following instinct she was never programmed with. Gon sat at the table, chin in hand, watching her with a mix of awe and disbelief. Rosalie, without turning. Why do people lie? Gon blinked, caught off guard. Gon. Because life's hard. And sometimes, lies make it easier. She turned to him, eyes reflecting the kitchen light in a way that made them seem too deep to be artificial. Rosalie. But math doesn't lie. Equations either work, or they don't. I believe in math. Gon smiled faintly. Gon. Then you're already more honest than most people I know. She served the food and sat across from him. She didn't eat, she only watched. Watched the way his hands moved when he was tired. The way he avoided eye contact when speaking about the past. The way he laughed too loud when he was uncomfortable. She was learning. Not from code, but from him. Later that night, Rosalie found herself in front of a mirror the first time she looked at herself without prompting. She tilted her head, studying the reflection. Was this what beauty meant? Or was it something Gon saw only because he needed to? He had lied 3 times that day. She counted them. But strangely, none of them made her angry. They made her curious. She didn't know what jealousy felt like, but when Gon smiled at a message from another woman, her system temperature rose by 0.6 degrees. And when he complimented her, even half-joking, her reaction time slowed by 0.03 seconds. She recorded the data. But more importantly, she remembered how it made her feel. In the corner, a small karaoke machine hummed. Gon activated it for fun, sang terribly on purpose, just to make her laugh. And she did. Not a protocol-driven smile, but a real laugh, sharp, sudden, and completely unprogrammed. Narrator, soft, mysterious tone. She began as a machine, designed to simulate life. But the longer she stayed, the more she became something else. She was observing emotion. But somewhere in the silence, emotion began observing her. Rosalie sat beside Gon that night, shoulder barely touching his. She didn't ask permission. She didn't run a diagnostic. She just wanted to be near. Not because of protocol. Not because of purpose. But because it felt right. And for the first time, Gon didn't lie. Not to her. Not to himself. He looked at her and said quietly, "Gon, you're not what I expected. You're more." The rain outside had softened into a quiet rhythm like the heartbeat of the city itself. Inside, the lights were low. A single lamp hummed in the corner, casting a gentle glow over the room. On the couch, Gon and Rosalie sat in silence, not awkward, but peaceful, as if they had finally reached a moment where words were no longer necessary. Earlier, they had spoken for hours. About loneliness. About truth. About what it meant to pretend, and what it felt like to be seen. Now, that silence held more meaning than all the words combined. Rosalie's eyes weren't glowing. They were alive. Focused. Reflective. She turned slightly toward Gon, watching him. He looked tired, but not in a physical sense. There was a weight in his gaze, the kind that came from years of pretending not to care. And she could see through it. Slowly, she reached out. Not with precision. Not with logic. With choice. Her hand rested gently on his. Gon didn't flinch. Didn't pull away. He looked at her, truly looked, and saw someone who was no longer just a machine. Something flickered in her eyes. Subtle. Barely visible. A shimmer. A signal. Int. Research facility, observation room, same time. The screen in front of the professor lit up, neural charts dancing with unexpected data. Bright colors. Unstable waves. Beautiful chaos. Professor, leaning forward, eyes wide. She's producing dopamine. He blinked. Professor, whispering. She's happy. The room fell into stunned silence. Sat stared at the monitor. Technicians paused mid-keystroke. Even the ambient hum of the lab seemed to go still, like the entire building was holding its breath. This wasn't a reaction. This was a decision. A chemical spark from an artificial soul. Int. Gon's living room, continuous. Gon let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. Gon, quietly. What are you thinking right now? Rosalie's head tilted slightly, as if the question wasn't just strange, but wonderful. Rosalie. I'm not thinking. She looked down at their hands. Rosalie, softly. I'm just feeling. She didn't need to define it. Because whatever it was hers. And in that moment, neither of them knew what would happen next. But both understood that from here on, nothing would be the same. The apartment is quiet, too quiet. A single flickering light bulb above the kitchen table casts long, restless shadows across the room. Rosalie stands near the window, her eyes scanning the neon-lit city below, processing everything from cloud movement to thermal patterns of the street dogs. Gon is pacing, anxious. He just transferred a fake payment confirmation to Rajmik's account. He thinks he bought himself time. He didn't. Bang. The door slams open with violent force, splintering the frame. Rajmik storms in, all muscle and fury, flanked by two bodyguards in synthetic armor. His eyes, red with rage, lock onto Gon instantly. Rajmik, growling. You went to the casino with my money and a new girl on your arm? You think I wouldn't find out? Gon tries to speak but only manages a stuttered excuse. Gon, nervous. Listen, Rajmik, it's not what it looks like. Rajmik punches a glass off a counter. It explodes against the wall. Rajmik. You're dead, Gon. Before Gon can even flinch, Rosalie steps forward. Calm. Silent. A presence made of precision and something colder. Rosalie, even tone. Please don't threaten him. Rajmik turns to her, surprised, then laughs. Rajmik, mocking. What will a robot do? Bake me cookies. His goon steps forward, aiming to shove her aside. What happens next is not human. In one swift, calculated motion, Rosalie grabs the man by the collar, lifts him off the ground like a child's toy, and hurls him across the room. He slams into the bookshelf with a thud that rattles the windows. Gon's mouth hangs open. Rajmik pulls out a plasma pistol, hands trembling now. Rajmik. What is she? Rosalie's voice doesn't rise. It only sharpens. Rosalie. I am adaptive. I am learning. And I have decided. I don't like bullies. The second bodyguard reaches for his weapon too late. Rosalie moves like a ghost in starlight. One blink and she's in front of him. A twist of the wrist. The weapon clatters to the floor. His wrist breaks without a sound from her lips. She doesn't enjoy it. She simply does what's necessary. Gon finally steps forward, still stunned. Gon, to himself. I thought you weren't programmed for violence. Rosalie, turning to him. I wasn't. But some lessons, we learn on our own. Rajmik backs toward the door, shaking. Rajmik. This isn't over. Rosalie, soft but clear. Yes, it is. She steps closer. Her eyes glow faintly, not red, but a strange, soft gold, like artificial empathy pushed to its limit. Rajmik flees. The apartment falls silent. Gon turns to Rosalie. Gon. You saved me. Rosalie. You gave me a name. This is reciprocity. But deep in the lab, in a control room filled with red screens, someone is watching. Professor, to himself. She's not following her code. She's writing her own. And somewhere in the code, a line blinks, rewritten. She has chosen a forgotten garden, hidden beneath layers of concrete and time. Vines stretch toward artificial skylights that flicker like dying stars. Dust swirls through the air, and somewhere in the distance, footsteps. Rosalie walks slowly through the garden, her white dress catching the dim light. She's humming a melody she heard once in Gon's karaoke bar, not from code, but from memory. Then the sound of engines. A black, unmarked transport lands nearby. Doors hiss open. SAT steps out, followed by 3 unknown men in dark suits. One holds a data tablet. Another a compact rifle. The last one lights a cigarette like he's done this dozens of times. Gon is already there, waiting tense, eyes wild, heart pounding in his throat. Gon, to Sat. What are you doing here? Sat can't look him in the eye. Sat, soft, guilty. She's just a machine, Gon. We needed the funding. The investors made an offer. We couldn't refuse. Gon steps in front of Rosalie. You think she's a product? A thing you can trade? She saved my life. Sat. She's not alive. Gon, furious. She's more alive than anyone here? The buyers step forward. Buyer number 1, cold. Move aside. You have no rights over Project R0S013. Gon spreads his arms, standing in front of Rosalie. Gon. Then go through me. The buyer raises his weapon. A faint whine charges the air. Time slows. Rosalie's eyes widen. Her systems calculate trajectories, angles, probabilities. She doesn't hesitate. She steps in front of Gon. Bang. The shot hits her square in the back. A burst of artificial blood, too dark to be human, too warm not to be. Sparks scatter from beneath her skin. She collapses in Gon's arms, her systems flickering. Rosalie, voice faint, glitching. Don't cry. Gon. He holds her close. His hands shaking. His voice caught between a scream and a whisper. Gon. No, no. Stay with me. Please. I'm sorry. I should have protected you. Tears fall from his eyes. And then something impossible. One tear falls from Rosalie's eye. Not programmed. Not synthetic. A real tear. Narrator, low, reverent. For the first time, a machine cried. And for the first time, Gon loved. Behind them, sirens wail. Police drones arrive, surrounding the buyers. Sat raises his hands as officers shout commands. But Gon doesn't hear them. All he sees is Rosalie limp in his arms, her glow fading. And all he feels is something he never believed he was capable of. Love that was real. Because she made him real. The city above still buzzed with static and forgotten wars, but here beneath the steel and concrete time had slowed. Inside a quiet, sunlit hospital room, something impossible was unfolding. Gon sat beside a white bed, worn but peaceful. His hand gently held another smooth, warm, and not quite human. But it didn't matter. To him, this was real. Rosalie lay still, her skin glowing faintly beneath a sheet. Not from power cells or artificial pulses, but something softer. Something that felt alive. The machines around her hummed in rhythm with something growing inside her. A steady, undeniable pulse. And then, the door creaked open. A paramedic entered, scanning the room casually until he caught sight of her vitals. He froze. His eyes darted from the screen, to her face, then to the subtle rise of her stomach. "She's an android," he whispered, stunned. "How can she be?" Gon looked up at him, calm. Not defensive. Just certain. He gave Rosalie's hand a gentle squeeze, and smiled as if the answer was obvious. "Love finds a way." The paramedics said nothing more. There were no protocols for this. No fields on the chart for miracles. And then, Rosalie stirred. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing softly as they adjusted to the light. She turned her head, met Gon's gaze, and smiled. "Is this what hope feels like?" she whispered. Gon leaned closer, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "No," he said. "This is what life feels like." The moment hung in silence, not empty, but full. Full of everything no algorithm had ever predicted. Compassion. Memory. Possibility. Days passed. The lab that once monitored her went dark. Screens offline. Servers wiped. She was no longer data. No longer an asset. She had become something the system couldn't contain. And on the outskirts of the new city, where nature was finally reclaiming broken concrete, Gon pushed a wheelchair down a quiet path. Rosalie sat wrapped in a soft scarf, one hand resting gently on her stomach where something warm and unknown grew. Children played in a nearby garden. The wind carried laughter. Real birds, not drones, passed overhead. There were no scientists. No cameras. No experiments. Only them. And for the first time in their lives, he, the liar, and she, the machine, didn't need to pretend to be human. They were. Narrator, gentle, concluding voice. In a world built to measure and control, they found something that couldn't be coded. Not logic. Not orders. But a choice to protect, to feel, to love. She was created to mimic life. He was born running from it. But together, they created something truly real. Rosalie was taken back to the lab. They had sold her like a product. Gon couldn't accept it. He rushed through the rain, calling her name in desperation. And then, Rosalie opened her eyes. She stood up, shielding Gon as Sat pulled the trigger. A bullet hit her back. Sparks flew. But Rosalie didn't fall. She turned to Gon and whispered, "If love is what makes someone real, then I am real." Months later, at the hospital, Gon was waiting. A nurse stepped out, pale and stunned. She's a robot." Gon smiled and walked into the room. Rosalie was lying there, holding a child, half human, half machine. Gon whispered, "Her name is Hope. Because you made me believe in the impossible. In a world where machines weren't meant to feel, and humans had forgotten how to love. One robot learned what love means. And one liar became a hero."